Whether you're celebrating your dad or a different parental figure, maybe you're celebrating your partner, or even just a mate, honestly, Father's Day is such a good excuse for us to get creative with cocktails. Now, if you're anything like me, I hate being drawn out of the action to go shake some tins in the middle of a celebration. So that's what we want to avoid. I'm going to show you how to prep for Father's Day like a bartender, so you can just use cocktails to punctuate some of the great moments in the day, as opposed to be squeezing limes and whatnot all day. Now, one of the biggest things that people just hate about making drinks at home is all the fiddly amounts of liqueurs and whatnot that you have to buy to do a really big amount of classic cocktails. Now, we're going to avoid that completely today, and all we're going to use is a few easy to acquire bits and pieces and heaps of fresh produce. Not only is working seasonally like this going to make it a lot cheaper for you to make Dad's Day nice and special, but also it's going to mean that we don't have to hold on to a weird bottle of peach schnapps that you bought 5 years ago that just gathers dust because you wanted to make one drink. We don't want that. We want stuff that you're actually going to be able to use and stuff that you're actually going to want to drink. With that said though, I actually don't know what we're going to make yet, so I'm going to get changed and we're going to head down to the markets, see what we can buy produce-wise, and then we're going to work up a menu from there. I reckon let's go. Oh, I should probably get changed first, actually. Okay, so the first thing that I found out at the markets was all of this like awesome citrus fruit. So I've got some mandarins here. I've got a couple of oranges. These caracaras are absolutely delicious. A few limes in here. We've got some gnarly looking lemons, but they smell outstanding. Winter is fully citrus season here in Australia, so we're definitely going to use some of these bits and pieces for sure. Now, what else did I buy? So I also found a beautiful punnet of strawberries. Strawberry season is actually winter in Australia. Look at that. Oi, oi, oi. So that means, I think for our menu, we're going to start with some of this citrus, and we're going to make like a little beer aperitif-y sort of, not like a mimosa, but kind of maybe a little bit, somewhere between like a pecan beer and a mimosa. So we're going to use some of our citrus for that. I think we're going to do, with some more citrus in here, I think we might make like a version of a Paloma of some description, or some sort of fix, something tall and fizzy. I'm into that. And then with our bananas, I think we're going to do maybe even a little coffee cocktail or an old-fashioned style of thing. But I think we'll get started on our first drink of the day. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to use some of these mandarins to make a little like aperitif. I'm actually going to use the full thing. So all we're going to do here is we're just going to start peeling these. I should probably have gotten a bowl. Okay, so we're just going to have 2 bowls here. Just going to peel off the skin of this. If I hold it closer to me, you'll be able to hear it. We don't want to have too much of this stuff hanging out in the fridge, just sitting there going bad, right? So I reckon we might be able to get away with, with 3 mandarins here. Just give this a little peel. I'm actually going to save these bits for tomorrow, right? Because I'm going to juice these fresh tomorrow morning. But because they've got this membrane on the outside of them, it's going to protect it from a lot of the oxidation that usually a peeled fruit would really suffer under. It's not infallible. It's not going to last forever, but it's about 12 hours until I want to make it. And I think that they're going to be okay if I chuck them in the fridge now. Okay, so I've got my peels here, right? And I don't really like, they're so vibrant and fresh that I actually don't want to do heaps with them. Like I don't want to like ruin the integrity of them too much. And I want to get a lot of the sort of bright and freshness of them. So what I might do actually is a little like slow cooked mandarin stock. So that means I need to grab a little pot. I'm just going to pop them in with some water, and we're going to cook them really low and slow until they're fragrant, really. It could be about an hour or so. But while that's going, I'll be able to work on other things. This over here. Nice and low. Okay, so while that's cooking down, I'm going to start on my strawberry Paloma situation. It's probably not the right word for it, but It doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is just cut up some strawberries here. Okay, I'm going to hang on to the little strawberry tops as well because we do want them and we will use them a little bit later. I've got some beautiful strawberries in here, okay? I'm going to blitz these up, sorry. And they're going to be a beautiful fresh strawberry puree. We'll fortify a little bit as well tonight. But before I do that, I want to add some extra bits. So I'm going to juice, oh, look at that. How good's that? I'm going to juice 1 Caracara orange, maybe 2, they're pretty good though. Oh my Lord. In with the strawberries as well. Look at that. I have to taste this. This looks so good. Oh man. That's such a nice orange. It's almost a shame that this is going into a cocktail because it's such a good orange. Okay, so all I'm going to do now that I've tasted my orange is I'm just going to juice it into the bowl of a blender here. Nice and rustic. This will just take a moment to do, but that's okay. I've got this really rustic citrus press, which is probably the most ineffective bar tool I've ever bought, but I just love it. Like, it's so nice. Anyway, so I've got my orange juice in. I've made a bit of a mess, but we're not cleaning up just yet. In go the strawberries. Okay, so this is going to get blitzed up, and then we're going to pass it. My offcuts here are just going to stay off to the side for a moment, and then we're going to use them in a sec. Okay, so my blender is done. So all I'm going to do here is just pass this puree through a nice fine strainer here. We just want to get rid of any of those little seeds. Yeah, it's actually pretty smooth, so it's good. It's outstanding in colour though. How nice is that? What I want to do is I actually want to mitigate the amounts of degradation that this is going to see in the fridge overnight. So I'm actually going to use some of these scraps very quickly. And we're going to make a little infused agave syrup, just really, really fast in the microwave actually, just to get a little bit of stability in here so it doesn't go bad overnight. As it turns out, I don't actually have any agave syrup, so we're just going to use honey instead. That'll do. So all I'm going to do actually, I'm just going to put that off to the side for the minute, and all I'm going to do here is just measure what I've got in here, and then that will determine how much honey I put in. So we'll put in 2 of the quarter peels. That's exactly 100 grams, or 99, so pretty good here. So all I'm going to do to that is I'm just going to add 90 grams of honey. Oh. Let's just give this a go here. This is one of those times when a multicam setup would have worked really well. And this is probably the moment where I ask you to like and subscribe to my channel so that one day I can afford to have a multicam setup. Okay, so that is equal parts of fruit and honey. So now all I want to do is add some water to this as well. Just do 100 grams of water in here. Okay. Now, because I'm super lazy and I'm doing this on the fly, you could absolutely leave this overnight, but I kind of want to stabilize my fruit puree tonight. So we're going to just chuck it in the microwave for 2 minutes on high, and that should do most of the trick for us, I reckon. So very fortuitously, while my microwave's going, my stock, my Mandarin stock, has actually finished. Smells unbelievable. So this has never gotten to the boil, but what's happened is we've almost made like a tea with it, right? You just steep it really, really slowly. It's warm, definitely, but it's not like too hot for me to touch the water if I really wanted to. So we've got all that beautiful mandarin aroma that we're going to turn into a little cordial. Okay, just see how much I've got. It's actually quite a bit in here. So what we're going to do, I've got 339 ml here. Obviously a little bit's evaporated out. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add some sugar to this. My microwave's going. It's all happening all at once. It's actually not very stressful though. So all I'm going to do is add the same amount of sugar to this. So 338 grams. Okay, so it's time to add some sugar. So we're doing 330 grams sugar into here. Now, as you can see, I just pour it out of the bag. I could absolutely decant it into a much nicer vessel, but you know what? That feels hard. Okay, so there we go. It's 330 grams of sugar in there. And all I'm gonna do is just stir this one to combine. Now, because this stock is warm, it should dissolve pretty quickly, which is good. There's so many different ways that you can make mandarin syrup. I mean, you can make a full syrup and stew the mandarins in there. You can soak the mandarin skins in sugar and let all of the oils draw out. This is a little bit of a feel it as we go kind of approach today. But you can see here, I wish you could smell how good this smells, because it really is so mandarin-y. Oh, la la, that's going to be so nice. All right, enough of that now. Because all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my honey syrup that's just gone through the microwave, and we're just going to, oh man, we're just going to add in like 100 grams into this here. So it's about 2 parts of the puree to 100 grams. Just give this a little stir. We just want to bring the temperature of this down fairly quickly. Just having this little bit of sugar in here is going to make your drink prep tomorrow go a little faster, but also it's going to help to keep this puree nice and zippy overnight. Let's have a go here. Oh, that's so good. Sometimes I like shock myself with things that are delicious. Okay, so that's all my prep done really for tonight. Just gonna give all my space a little wipe up, and then we're ready to celebrate with Dad tomorrow. It's the day of. So I think it's time for us to make some drinks now that I'm finished getting changed. Great, I think we should start with our morning little Beermosa, shall we? Okay, so I've got here all of my ingredients that I prepped last night, plus an Australian beer over here, and it's time to assemble. So what we're going to do to start with is we're going to grab a nice cold glass. Now, I keep these in the freezer all the time, but even if you just chuck it in the freezer for an hour the morning of, it'll bring the temperature of the glass down. Okay, so we've got our nice cold glass here. All I'm going to do is just cut open one of these mandarins. Now, we always want to make sure that we're using some sort of measure because otherwise it becomes kind of the Wild West, and it means that we can't recreate anything. So just very carefully, I'm going to squeeze this mandarin here, and I just want 30 mils or 1 ounce. Lovely little mandarin. So we go 30 mil of our mandarin juice straight into the glass there. Now I've also got, remember, we've got our lovely Mandarin syrup that we made yesterday. So all I'm going to do is just add like 20 mil of that in here. Okay, lovely. Let's just give this a little swirl. Give it a little smell. Smells pretty good. Now I've got my beer. You can use whatever beer you want here really. But I'm going to use a nice little lager. Oof. Okay, all I'm going to do is just fill this up. Just to like halfway, thereabouts. Okay, lovely. And then I'm going to grab some ice. I just want to use cubed ice. The surface area of all of the cubes is going to help to keep this nice and fizzy while we're drinking it. Oh no. There we go. Rock and roll. Now all we're going to do to garnish is we're just going to take one of our cut mandarins here, and we'll just cut a little slice. Now garnishing is the difference between telling somebody that you like them and telling them that you love them, because look, it just helps to bring it all all out to life here. Let's give it a little taste test, shall we? Oh man, that's so delicious. Bright, it's citrusy, but still nice and fizzy. You get that lovely sort of orange character through, but it's not crazy heavy. It's really, really yum. I think that's a winner. Probably time to make some for the rest of the crew. All right, it's time to move on to drink number 2. Now, we've actually prepped everything that we're going to need today. I was thinking about this last night and I was thinking to myself, actually, this is probably better as almost like a margarita riff, but with like far less steps. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by adding 60 ml of a Blanco tequila to our tin here. Lovely. Use whatever tequila you like. For me, it's always Don Julio. Haters gonna hate, but Kate's gonna Kate. And then we're gonna do 60 ml of our strawberry and Caracara orange cordial here. It's literally equal parts this, right? Because essentially we've batched part of this earlier in the day. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up my shaker with ice. We want heaps of ice in this so that we can get it nice and cold really, really fast. Okay, so before I do anything, what I want to do is just put a bit of salt on the rim of my glass here. So all we're going to do is just cut a little bit off a lime here. I can live back in there for the minute. Give it a bit of a wipe here. And then just on a nice flat surface, we're just going to rotate that around until we get a nice sort of coverage there. Okay, and as soon as my glass is ready, I'm going to get ready to shake this drink. Now, one of the biggest things that people struggle with at home is getting their drinks the right temperature with the right amount of dilution. You need ice to add water to drinks. Otherwise, they just end up tasting really strong, really acidic, and really sweet, but not in a very good way. So the trick is to literally fill your tin up with ice. There is no way in the world that home bartenders ever use enough ice. I'm also guilty of this on occasion. But all we're going to do is fill it all the way up with ice, press that down nice and hard, or maybe a couple of little taps for good luck, and then give it a nice hard shake. Okay, we want to shake it until the outside is nice and frosty, but we're not quite there yet. Okay, so what should happen is you should be able to sort of frost that that shaker there. Let's get rid of this here. Lovely. That smells outstanding. Now, what we're not going to worry about here is double straining this. We're just going to go smack straight in. Try not to spill too much onto the bench like I've just done there. Great. Okay. Okay, and all we're going to do is just add some ice. That one's going in the sink. That was a good throw. Give it a bit of... You can just use a home spoon for this. I'm just going to give it a bit of a push around just to make sure that ice... Oh, sits in there well. Okay. I reckon it's time to give this one a go, shall we? Oh yeah. That's the stuff. It's really, really sweet, but like in a very fruit-forward way. And then we get that lovely acidity of the Caracara orange. It's so delicious. I mean, if you're using a standard like navel orange, I'd maybe say add a squeeze of lime in there as well, but this is like perfect. Yum, no notes. Guys, I would say that's been a very successful Father's Day cocktail menu. Definitely all crowd pleasers in there. So please, please, please make sure that you have a bit of a play. Go check out what's at the store, what's at the market, and make some delicious drinks for Dad this year. If you like any of the stuff that you saw today, please make sure that you like and subscribe first up, and then grab all of the recipes down in the comments below. We'll see you next time. I can't wait to see what I get wrung into to make drinks for next. Let's do it.